All right, in the last episode, guys, I gave you an overview of my last year and I touched on the process of the things that I had done to get to the place which I'm at right now. And now I want to go into more depths about the actual journey from, the beginning. So for me, it started like 19 and a half years ago when I was like 13, 14 years old when I started cutting hair. And it was kind of like, not even kind of, it was a hobby. I enjoyed it. I got a little bit good at it, so people around my area were cutting with me. I used to go around to people's houses and cut their hair for free. They'd come to my house and I'd cut their hair for free. People, when they couldn't make it to the barbershop, would come to me and get a shape up before they're going to their under 18s club and things like that. Moving on from there, I turned 18. I got like an unofficial internship in the barbershop here. I had no customers. I would come here every week and I'd be sitting around watching everybody else cut hair. And I want people to really understand this because I spoke to a young barber the other day. I was telling him about me and what I had done and stuff like that. And the fact that I was always here. Like I was here from morning to evening, whether I had customers or not. If I cut one person or cut nobody or cut 5 people, I would be here. Because he was in a place where he's coming in late, he's leaving early, he's just taking all his time off because he hasn't got customers. And I was explaining to him that you have to go through these things. But the best thing to do is to constantly be around, because if you're around all the time, then you're always going to catch the customers that come in. And I also said to him, do you know what you don't realize is every customer that you cut, if they like that haircut, they become your client. If that customer comes once a month, as example, you can now say, do you know what, my wage for the year has gone up now by, let's say the haircut's £10, it's gone up by £120 for each customer you pick up. And that could be them coming every 2 weeks or every week. And they could be paying appointment prices and paying £20, £25, whatever the case is. I'm saying every customer you catch, if they like the service you've given them and the haircut that you've given them, they become your client. So I was telling him this and he was like, yeah, you know what? If I knew I was going to get customers, I would come in like early and this and that. And I said, this is the issue with certain people's mindset. You want everything to be guaranteed. You're not willing to risk anything. It's like, if I know, like as if the world owes you something, if I knew and I had a guarantee that if I came in, I would get a customer, then I would come in. Like as if the world is working for you. And this is what I'm talking about, the process that people don't see. So he's looking at me and he's saying, yeah, you can come in. He said to me, you can come in early because you guarantee you're going to get customers. But he's missing the fact that that's me now, 15 and a half years into my professional career. What about when I was coming in early 14 years ago and I was having no customers? And this is why I want to talk about the process even more so. I used to come in here every Saturday in the morning. I wasn't cutting anybody, but I'd be here the whole day. And I might cut one person, move on, do exactly the next day, do exactly the same thing, the next day the same thing. When I first started working here as well, I was working 7 days a week. There were no breaks, I worked 7 days a week. I remember it came to a point where Damon said to me that you need to take a break. So he told me basically choose a day to start coming in half day, kind of half day. So on Thursdays, I'd start at like between 12 and 2 because I was working 7 days a week and he had to tell me, take a break. But this is the side of things where people don't see. I was working full time every day. And then after a few years, I dropped it down and I started doing 6 days. Then about 6.5 years ago, when I got married, I didn't go. My wife told me, yeah, I had to take another day off. I had to do like a proper weekend thing. But what I'm trying to say is now when you see me working 5 days, which some of the younger barbers see, they're like, you get this time off, you do this, you do that. But they don't see the fact that there was a stage when I wasn't doing all these things there. And I'm not trying to tell anybody that you need to work 7 days a week and you need to do 12 to 14-hour shifts every day. What I am trying to say is when you look at where I'm at and the things which are coming my way, don't neglect to see the things that I had done to get here. And this is what it was when I'm talking to this youngster, explaining that. And he even said to me, do you know what? That's your day. This is like what he said to me. He said to me, that's your day. He goes, in your day, you had to do that, but we're going to do it differently. You worked hard, we're going to work smart. And I agree with the idea of working smart, but you cannot negate working hard. To think that, you're just going to work smart and never have to lift a finger and never have to sweat and never have to be tired is actually ridiculous. And it's just a lazy culture. It's people who don't want to work, so they're trying to think of ways to always create shortcuts. Moving on from that, as I said, the amount of hours I had put into working, as I said, you guys see me averagely doing 12-hour shifts a day and stuff like that. That's now. Back then, I would always take on every customer that came my way. I would never turn away a customer. And also, even in the process, there were levels. I respected authority. And I think this is really important for youngsters to actually understand, because I feel like there's a group of a wave of young people who don't respect authority. So they don't respect the people which are above them. They don't respect the people which are above them trying to help them. So When I was younger, like 18, 19, 20 years old, 21 years old, I respected the authority above me. I respected Damon, who was the manager of the shop and was the senior barber. So when Damon would say things like, you know what, yeah, Slider, come in early as example and cut this guy's hair, I never questioned it, I just did it. When he'd be like, okay, you know what, yeah, after work, this guy wants a haircut at 7 o'clock, can you do it? I'd be like, okay, cool, do it. Because also we've got to realize as well, these guys are just helping you. Like, you know, when you cut that person's hair and you get paid, how does that benefit him? So I find with the wave of young people, it's kind of like they've got this thing where they feel that everybody's against them. So every time you're asking them to do something, it's always kind of like, one, what am I getting out of it? Two, like, you know, what are you getting out of it? And three, it's kind of like, why? And some of the things are just so obvious, like, why do you even care? If I ask you to cut someone's hair as an example, and you're getting paid for it, why is it kind of like this, kind of having your back against the wall? Like, why are you having your back against the wall, like as if, you know, well, why do I need to do this? It's just kind of like a mentality which I just think just needs to stop. The amount of things that I did which I didn't want to do, the amount of events that I went to, you know, I remember doing Street Fest and having to carry the barber chair on the train. There's a picture somewhere, I think I'll try to find a picture. But I remember being on the train carrying this heavy chair. And it's just kind of like to go and do that event, which it's not that I didn't want to do the event, but as I said it in the last video, setting up events are so long and it's so hard. And people know this, that's why a lot of people around me don't do these events, because it's just tedious. I remember all of those events. Sometimes you'd cut one person, there are times which you cut nobody, there's times which I cut 10 people. It's kind of hit and miss. And this is why I go back to what I said earlier when I was talking to the young person. Everybody's trying to plan the best route. Basically, almost everyone's trying to find a route that means they don't have to do any extra work. So it's like, you know, if I come in early, I want to guarantee that I'm getting customers. But what I'm trying to say is, when I was coming up, even now, I just spread my wings. I just threw my seeds everywhere. I just did every event and everything that came my way. There was no kind of like, well, is that going to do something for me? Is that going to do something for me? I just did everything. There's failure and success. That's just life. There is failure in success. It's not everything that I've done that worked out. You know, I've done so many things where, you know, you could say, quote unquote, feel like you wasted your time. You came in early and you cut nobody's hair for a few hours. And people might say, well, you know, you just wasted your time. But no, because as I said, you are just spreading yourself. You're putting yourself out there. And when you put yourself out there, you leave yourself open for any opportunities that come your way. When you try and work out where all the opportunities are, you're going to miss a bunch of opportunities that you didn't see. The process can be long. The process is hard, but that's why it's worth the result. Denzel said it in a speech recently. If it was easy, then everybody would do it. Just simple as that. If it was easy, everybody would do it. And if it was easy, everybody would do it. And then you'd have to do something which was harder to make yourself stand out from everybody else. You'd have to do something which was more. You'd have to do something, you know, bigger to stand out from everybody else. So the process can be long. The process can be hard, but you know, you got to keep at it. And in everything which I've done and everything which I'm doing, like, there's a lot of work behind it. The hours which I'm putting in, and also the hours outside of work which you don't see. Like, there was a stage before I got my booking system, I would be on my phone. Literally, you can ask my wife, she can testify to this. Every day that I went home from work, I'd spend 4 to 5 hours on my phone just booking appointments. Just booking appointments every day, you know. And also, when you're thinking about new ideas, like, you know, this shaping up culture idea and just various other things that I'm doing, like writing a book and stuff like that, it's work, it's time. You know, you're writing stuff and it doesn't work out, you have to come back at it. I do a shaping up culture, I look back at it, I don't like it, you know, have to come back at it. Or you do a series that fails, then it's like, okay, I need to reinvent it and do something else. What I'm trying to say is there's just so many things along the way, like, and even in my journey, like this, let's say my professional career over the last 15 years, there has been so many, you know, ups and downs and things that I started and stopped. I started a clothing line, Sliderwear. You know, that was like 16, 17 years ago. I lost money. I spent money on it. I lost it. Cool. You know, I didn't move on to something else. You know, I remember when I started working here, I had this idea while I wasn't cutting anyone's hair. I said, let me start a car wash company. Let me start washing customers' cars while they're here, because I never had no customers. So I said, instead of me just sitting here, maybe I'll go outside, I'll wash your car. And I remember I did it for 1, maybe 2 clients. Then it just fizzled out. But what my point is, throughout the whole time, I'm always thinking about new things to do all the time. And the car wash thing didn't work out. The Sliderwear didn't work out. And various other things didn't work out. But when you see the things that do work out, you don't see the 10 things that failed. And there's, in my career, in everything which I've done, there's been so many things which have failed, but you only see the thing that worked. And then people will say things like, I could have thought of that. You know, I could have done that. But I say you could have done that, But you would never have done that because you weren't willing to fail, which means you weren't ready to succeed. And if you're not ready to fail, you're not ready to succeed, because there's failure in success.